thank you. Oluwa na go tell.
Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. So I'm really excited to be here because today finally I get to share with you my testimony and my experience with PCOS. I can remember when I announced that I have a baby, I told you guys that I was going to share my testimony and my pregnancy journey with you, but I never got to do that. So I'm really excited. The reason why I will be sharing it is because I believe this video is going to help someone out there. And I was a little bit hesitant, but I had to tell myself, what's the point keeping it in here when I can share it with you and it might encourage someone out there and it can help someone. So I'm just going to start from the beginning. I'm going to try my best to make sure that this video is not too long. I was diagnosed with PCOS when I moved to Australia, and when I moved to Australia I was 22 years old, and I moved here and I noticed that my periods were very irregular. Before I get into the story, I'll tell you in a nutshell what PCOS is. I won't go into so much details as to what it means because I feel like there's so much information on the internet. If you just Google it, a lot of things will come out on PCOS. So there's so much information on the internet. So I'll just tell you in a nutshell what PCOS is. PCOS is basically when a woman's hormones are imbalanced, and what this leads to is irregular period, and because the woman's period is irregular, it leads to a situation whereby the woman has a lot of difficulties having a baby. It doesn't mean that you wouldn't have a baby, it just means that you need a lot of help. Going back to my story, I was diagnosed with PCOS when I moved here to Australia. I noticed that my periods were irregular. I can remember calling my mom and letting her know that my periods are very irregular because it was very strange to me. Because before, when I was in Nigeria, I had regular periods, but now moving to this country, my periods are all over the place. So I told her, and she told me that it could be the change of my environment, but it would be good to go to a doctor to check. So I did go to the doctor, and I was told to do ultrasounds, and then getting my results, I was told I had multiple cysts on my ovaries and I have PCOS. I can remember sitting there and going, what does this even mean and what implication does it have? Like, what does this mean? So the doctor told me, explained to me what it meant, and he went ahead to tell me that it's nothing to worry about. He could put me on the pills to make my period regular, but it's absolutely nothing to worry about. So I was like, okay, that's fine. I don't want to go on the pill because I hate my period anyway. So I really don't care if this period doesn't come. After a while, I noticed that my periods became regular again. So I was very happy about that. But I noticed that towards the time in which I was getting married, it became irregular. Also, I noticed that after the time I got married, it even became even more irregular. I can remember the year I got married, I only had 3 periods. It was that bad. So I went to see the doctor again. At this point, I was getting really worried about it because this is the point where I was married and I wanted to have babies and all that. And I went to see the doctor and I explained to the doctor what was going on. And then she got me to do an ultrasound again, and when the test results came out, it came out with the same thing. They found cysts on my ovaries and I had polycystic ovary syndrome. And at this point, I was becoming really anxious and not happy about it. So I spoke to the doctor and I was like, okay, I really want to have kids and I really need help. So she told me that I had to go on a diet, so I had to cut out carbs, be careful of my sugar intake and all that. I'm Nigerian. I love my carbs. I love rice. I love pounded yam. Our food is basically carb loaded, like loaded with carbs. So I was really not happy about it. But it was fine because at the end of the day, I'm going to cut out carbs and I'm going to eat more healthy, and hopefully this will make me have a baby. She also went ahead to tell me that I had to exercise, I had to lose weight. So I had to change my diet a lot. I had to swap white rice with brown rice. I had to eat more salads and fish. I had to cut out my fabulous Nigerian cuisines like pounded yam and eba. I couldn't eat all those anymore, which was a shame. And I was like, gosh, am I gonna leave? Am I going to survive this? Because I was just going nuts. The exercise part of it I actually struggled with. I tried to exercise for a bit and then I stopped. So I did that for months and still nothing changed. My period was as irregular as no man's business. It was so irregular. I went back to the doctor and I was like, this is what is happening. I've done this. I've cut out all these carbs. I got weighed on that day and I noticed that I had not reduced weight. At this point I was really frustrated. I asked her if there is any medication I can use. At this point she recommended metformin. I'll put the name here just in case I'm pronouncing it wrong. I was placed on that and I used it for a while. At this period I was working full-time. Each time I use that medication I feel like life is being sucked out of me. I'm always dizzy and tired, and just imagine going to work feeling this way. So I used that medication for months and still nothing happened. I went back to the doctor and the doctor told me that I might need to see a specialist because I might need more help. She organized for me to see this gynecologist. I didn't understand how difficult it is to see a gynecologist because my appointment was like 6 months away. At this point, I was really unhappy. I was really sad. I was really down. I didn't understand why this was happening to me. I did a lot of research and I found out that there were a lot of women going through this. But still, I was so unhappy. I was like, why me? Why is this happening to me? Why can't I have a baby easily? Why can't I just enjoy the process? Why do I have to go through this? I was so unhappy. I booked the appointment to see the gynecologist and I was just living life as per normal. I was sick of people asking me when the baby was coming because I couldn't possibly explain to them, oh, I have polycystic ovary syndrome. You know, I was tired of that. There were these particular women, I will never forget them. Wherever they see me, be it the mall, be it on the streets, be it at work, they would touch my tummy and be like, is the baby there yet? I used to be so embarrassed and so unhappy with this. So something really special happened, something remarkable happened. I think I'm getting the dates mixed up. I booked my appointment with the gynecologist for February 2015 and I had a Christian conference in September 2014. So I went to this conference and I can remember throughout this conference I was praying for my situation and this PCOS and this struggle that I had, and I kept praying. I was like, God, you need to show yourself strong in my life. And my mom, not my biological mom, but my husband's mom, I call her mom as well, walked up to me, held me and told me, this time next year you are going to come here to this conference with a baby. I need to tell you about this conference, by the way. If you're in Melbourne, if you're in Sydney, or if you're in Perth, wherever you are, you need to come to this conference. It's the Overcomers Conference, and it happens every year. Honestly, so many testimonies have come from this conference, and I'm a living testimony as well. That conference is amazing, and it changed my life for good. Anyway, moving back, my mom walked up to me, held me, and told me, this time next year, you're going to come here with your baby. And when she told me that, I was like, in my head, I'm going, what does she even mean? Like, I have an appointment with a gynecologist in February next year. Okay, so if I see the gynecologist, then I start IVF. I had all these things planned in my head. I wouldn't still have a baby till, I don't know. I was just like, it's not going to happen. September next year, there is no way I'm going to come here with my baby. The following Monday, after the weekend, I had this strong urge to watch pregnancy videos. I don't know why. I really wanted to watch pregnancy videos. So I went onto YouTube and I started watching all these videos, all these pregnancy videos. And I kept watching them and I was like, oh, this is interesting. After I watched these videos, I felt this strong push. And I heard something tell me to do a pregnancy test, and it was so strong in my heart that I should do a pregnancy test. So I was a little bit like, oh, it's going to come back negative, because at that point we had done so many pregnancy tests and it always comes back negative. So I was like, I don't know. Anyway, after work, myself and my husband were driving home, and I told him I wanted to pick up something from the grocery store. He asked me what it was, and I told him makeup wipes. So I went to the grocery store and I picked up a couple of makeup wipes, and I picked up a pregnancy test thing. So I didn't want my husband to know, because we had done a lot of pregnancy tests, and I did not want him to be disappointed again. Like, it's not, he was very supportive. It's not that he showed that he was disappointed, but I kind of understand, like, when you do test over and over again and it comes negative and you really want it to be positive, it's like it makes you feel down. So I didn't want him to know. I just wanted to do it, and I was so certain that it would be negative anyway. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to do this test. So when I got home, I went to the bathroom, I locked the door, and I did the first test. And the test came back positive that I was pregnant. And I couldn't believe it. I was so surprised. So I did the second test and it came back positive. At this point, I was so surprised. I called my husband in and I showed him the results. And he was shocked. His mouth was like, and he started crying. The following day, I called the doctor. I booked an appointment to do a test. And when I went there and I did the test, she told me I was definitely pregnant. She told me, oh, that means the metformin worked. And I told her, no, I actually stopped using the metformin a while ago. I think this is Jesus. This is God that has moved here. I just knew at that point when I was pregnant that Jesus was with me. And I knew that Jesus loved me. And I knew that Jesus was showing himself to me, because that's what I asked at that point. So I knew God gave me this child and not anything I did, because I wasn't doing anything at that point. So I was so blessed and I was so happy, and I cried and I thanked God. I can remember when I had my child, and every day I will hold this baby and I'm like, Jesus, thank you. Thank you for giving me this gift, because I know this gift came from you and you alone. And that was my experience. Before I end this video, I really want to touch on some few things. I want to touch on the symptoms of PCOS. In my case, I had irregular periods. So there was a time I had just 3-4 periods in a year. So it always usually starts with the irregular period, and that's the easiest way to know that you have PCOS. Also, people with PCOS tend to have acne. So I know that I have a lot of pimples like a teenager, like I break out so easily. Another symptom of PCOS is, of course, weight gain. So when you have PCOS, it's so difficult to lose weight. Like, no matter how much you exercise, no matter how healthy you eat, it is so difficult. I can remember when I was eating so healthy, I still did not lose much weight. In some cases, you have facial hair and also discoloration as well. So those are the symptoms of PCOS, and it's always good for you when you notice these things. It's always good for you to go to the doctor and check, because when you check, you know how best to manage it. So I really hope it helps you. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye.